Sorry about that. There was a technical issue here. I'm gonna continue.
Try to put your emotions aside for this video, but please watch it from beginning to end.
Hey guys, Kelly Rose speaking, and I am so happy to be back. I miss you guys so much. And shout out to all my subscribers and all people who are new here. Come right on in, come right on in. How to pronounce my name is Kelly Rose, and we're gonna get right on in. So, this has been on my spirit a lot lately, and my boy Big Money, he spoke on this, you know. I feel like some people be reading my mind. But the title of this video is gonna be called Black People Are Simp for Other Races of People. Now let's start with black women first. So there was this light-skinned black lady who said that all my black girlfriends are in relationships with other, with white men, and they are all stress-free. And I'm thinking to myself, that's because they're on their best behavior for that white man. Because they're trying to prove to him that they're not that masculine ghetto black girl that the world has betrayed a lot of black women to be.
No, it's not. My reason for my personal relationships, I've never acted any differently towards black men than white men. I don't see black men and white men as different. I don't see them in personality as different. And I honestly think, well, if a white man is dating a black woman, do you want him to see black women differently than white women? I personally don't. I mean, I would prefer him to see people as defined by their character and personality, and I search for the same thing personally. I don't think of black men as different in personality to white men. I've always said this. Black men, and white men especially, are the same. They're literally culturally the same. See, you, my dear, are the one who thinks that black people are different than white people culturally. You think of black people as a lesser people than white people. You think of black people as apes and animals. You think of white people as, basically the better type of human. And the image that you worship is honestly white. Or at least you were taught to worship someone who was white, which is a sad thing, but it's just the truth of what you guys were taught to do. And that's probably why you think of black people as inferior, and why you think black people have to be on their best behavior when they're with white people. Now, I do think that this might be a reason why I find that black men tend to prefer me over women like you. And this is because I do not have a masculine or ghetto bone in me. I don't have any masculine. I don't mean masculine. I am masculine, but I'm not ghetto. And some people would perceive that as being soft because I'm not ghetto. And that's just what it is. I mean, like, my behavior is just not very masculine. I mean, not very ghetto in that sense. Now, am I masculine? I would say I am in a different way than what people think of as far as the hood. That type of behavior in itself, to me, isn't masculinity in itself. But, yeah. Well, I guess for men. But, I mean, as far as a woman, a mainstream woman, I wouldn't say I'm the most feminine. But I'm definitely more feminine than you in most characteristic ways. But yeah, anyway. The point is, I think that's the thing. I don't change in character or in behavior with black men to white men. I treat them both the same way. And this is why I've always found like sexual harassment with black men is a big problem for me. But it's not particularly just my behavior. It's specifically my racial ambiguity, honestly. And that's always been a problem for me, where black men have always harassed me because they always want to ask, like, what I'm mixed with and all that stuff. And talking about the whole thing with simping, this is a true fact here. You guys will fight tooth and nail for black men all day long, and they won't even do shit for you after all that, because at the end of the day, they just don't like what you look like. They don't like that you are a dark-skinned, unambiguous black woman. And when that happens, you guys get frustrated, angry, and feel unappreciated, And considering you're talking about a lighter-skinned woman, I must say myself, I've noticed that I don't have to be with black men for them to simp for me, for them to protect me, for them to basically stand in my lane and defend me. I've always noticed that. It's just always been that way for me. As long as I don't completely disrespect them and call them all sorts of mean names. When I call them mean names, I'm only just referencing their sexual function, which I don't think they have much of a sexual function. As far as who they are as people, I never call them apes or that they belong in prison or that they're criminals. I don't say any of that stuff because to me, I'm most black men aren't criminals and black people aren't animals, even though I know you think they are. But, to me, I don't have that type of perspective of them. But that's the benefit, honestly, with black men. When you look like you aren't a part of their racial background, you get them to simp for you, whether you choose them or not. While you have to scream to the world that you choose them, and maybe they will pay you mind. They'll never simp for you.
Because they want white approval. Because they don't disrespect him. They don't belittle him how they do black men. And I noticed this. I noticed a lot of black women, they change themselves for him. The music they listen to, the clothes that they wear, a lot of black women start dressing a little weird.
That's the thing. I feel like with black people, just interacting with them, and I'm not saying in a way where like anything romantic, because I've never dated a black man. Everyone knows this. But for me, what I've noticed with these type of people is they always want to change you if you are not. If they are a part of a subculture they consider black, for me, I wasn't raised to see myself culturally any different from white Americans. I don't. I never was taught to see it that way. What I listen to, what I eat, the type of food that I make. I don't know what you mean by clothing, but I think everyone wears the same type of clothing. But hey, what do I know? But yeah, I have always seen white and black people culturally the same. With people like you, who one aren't even black American because you're Creole, and that is a different culture in itself. People tend to have a situation where they are basically wanting to change black people who don't fit their stereotype of a black person. You want people like me to change the way we speak, change the way the kind of music we listen to, the kind of food we eat, all this sort of stuff. You guys always want to change us into your stereotype. But you have to understand, like I said before, black people and white people are not monolith, and they aren't defined by their color. Color does not define character, you see. And that's the racist ideology that you were fed by most likely a white relative in your past that was raised towards you. I say that because most black Americans are mixed with white, and it's usually from a negative situation, an abusive situation. But anyway, let's continue.
And I noticed this as well. That white man can be a bum, have no goals in life, no resources, because all white men don't have resources.
I agree with that. All white men do not have resources. So I don't like it when people say that they are hypergamous, therefore they only date men outside of the race, because it's like, I don't really see it that way. To me, I see it as, well, any race can have money. That's not really a good reason to date outside your race. If you happen to be only attracted to people outside of your race, well then, that is a good reason, And if you're only attracted to people with certain structure that you actually have yourself, it shouldn't be shocking. Just saying.
She would still give him unconditional love, respect, and still would lay down with him and have babies by him, just so she can hold him to the world and say, look at what I got.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like, personally to me, I do not, like, when we talk about certain types of people, I do not get along with white people who basically are similar to your stereotype of a black person. This is off of character. You see what I mean? I don't have a compatibility with these people, personality-wise. There are some black men who would have a compatibility to my personality if they have the same background as me, and they have the same aspirations as me, and the same lifestyle as me. You know what I mean? And that you could find that with white and black men. And the thing is, who are you attracted to? You should never be with someone who you're not attracted to. So, yeah, continue.
But that black man can go to work, bust his ass off, come home, and have to hear her fucking mouth. And I notice black women are quick to check black men about everything in a relationship. But when it comes to Brad, she'll let him get away with murder. There are black women right now who are in interracial relationships. They're allowing a man to walk all over him. All over her, excuse me.
Yeah, I would not, no. To me, the way I see it is this. When I talk about, for example, hypergamy, I mean like quality, good quality in a man. That's what I'm actually talking about. To me, I think you should go with someone who is compatible for you, who makes you happy, who is your other half, that you have found a functional relationship with. See, this got nothing to do with color, okay? It really doesn't. It's got nothing to do with color. I know this because, I've talked to people who were not even heterosexuals, let alone of the same race as me. Nor did I really even care or concern myself with what race they were. And we would talk about compatibility in functional relationships, and those who chose poorly, those who chose dysfunction instead of waiting for functional relationships, because they didn't want to be alone or whatever. And that has always been my thing. I do not like the idea of being in a rush to be with someone just so you can say you're with someone and end up in a dysfunctional relationship where you're miserable. Why would you include someone in your life that makes you miserable? So this is regardless of race. If someone has the idea that they're willing to let someone run over them if they're of a certain race, I would advise not to date such a person of that race, because you're looking for bad people among that race. But that does not have to do with most women who interracially date. Normal people who interracially date just date people who are compatible with them on their physical attraction and their emotional attraction to them, to create a compatible relationship with that individual. You guys, it's often pro-black love type individuals always are thinking of black and white. Oh, white is better, black is less than, and all that. That's what you think. So if you were to interracially date, you would think that white men were above you and to be on your best behavior, so then you can not rock the boat because you think that he will leave you for a woman who is better than you. In other words, white women, because you do feel like white women are better than you. And that's what makes you so insecure about white men. And you feel this way with black men, but you feel like it's a little better because they're black. And you can basically work on their self-esteem and try and bring them down to your level of how you feel about yourself. That's why you choose black men. It's not because you love black men, but because you think they're low enough for you to break down, for you to be with. Anyway, that's just my opinion on that. Continue.
And white men know that. And you know what I find so crazy? Is that a lot of black women are being nice, sweet, and submissive to these men. And white men are still killing black women at a higher rate that they don't want to show and talk about on the news. And you know what else?
Well, we all know about the every 4 hours and the femicide issues going on with black men and black women. So I don't think we should be really talking about that. I personally do not think that that's a reason to say all black men are bad. But, I mean, I don't really concern myself with that issue because it's like, well, I do not have to be with black men because I am not attracted to black men. It would make no sense for me to be with someone I have no sexual attraction to. I don't get wet over those type of men. I literally look at them and think, you are a weird-looking motherfucker because you look like a woman, but you claim you're a man. Anyway, that's how I look at dark-skinned black men. And this isn't me being mean to black men. It's really literally how I think of them when I look at them. Now, with that in mind, I also think that there are many men among dark-skinned black men who will find that women are attracted to them. Because there are many women who have many different types of men that they're attracted to. I personally just am not attracted to them. And this is why I always am like, well, you can find somebody probably. And, you know, good luck with that. I mean, do you think I want black men to just stay alone forever? I don't hate them. And I don't wish them any negative energy. I only wish negative energy to the violent ones. Of course, I want them to go to jail or be put to sleep, you know, put to death, you know. One or the other. If you're a violent person, I think you should be put to death or, you know, something along those lines. But I'm saying as far as black men who obey the law, you know, and are not criminals, I definitely have no hate towards them. And I think they should find love with somebody as well, you know. And this is why I think I have no issue with black men interracially dating. It's because I don't have any issue with them finding someone that is good for them. And if that's outside of the race, go ahead, you know. All I ask is not to be bothered personally, considering I don't like black men myself. In a sexual sense. Not like I don't like them. You get what I'm saying. I'm not attracted to them. Anyway.
Other black women, you might get mad at this, but other races of men look at black women as gutter sex. Majority of them.
Yeah, for you, but that's not for everyone. A lot of black women, it depends. Like, if a lot of black women who are, a lot of certain black women, and whoever that is, let's just say, you probably will know what kind of black woman that is, and you will be treated that way, and so therefore you will know that that's how you're treated. But personally, to me, that's not my experience. Honestly, for me, I've always been treated more like, I think it's because of my size, I'm more treated like a smaller, delicate type of feminine type of female because of my size. When you get to know me, you get to realize I'm not that feminine, I'm just very small and delicate, you know. But I get it, like, you probably are a lot bigger, you know, you're a lot sturdier, you know, and build. So then you feel like you're treated like you be roughhoused, you know, and that you're just like basically treated like you are like kind of like a strong working horse, more so. And so then that's why you would think that'd be more like guttural sex. Because if someone was having sex with someone who was like bigger and a sturdier woman, that would be more in the sense of being guttural sex. But would that specifically be black women, or would it be any woman who really fits that type of build? You know, that would fit Hispanic women who fit that build, white women, Asian women. I don't know any Asian women actually that do fit that build that much. Maybe like Filipinos. No, they still are kind of small too. But yeah, anyone who fits that big, you know, Bertha type of build, you know. But black women, many of us are not like that build. We just aren't, you know. Myself, I'm not, personally. And that goes back to my heritage, because my ancestry, a big noticeable trait in North African and, you know, Saharan people is that we tend to be shorter and thinner and more of a frail frame. That's just the truth. We tend to be more delicate and more like of a feminine frame. Smaller frame, delicate frame, you know. And that's another thing with the men that I've been with. Usually they like small women. Like, they have a preference towards, like, smaller women in general. Like, you know, like those, just, like, finer boned, smaller, like, kind of like, I guess, ballerina size women. But ballerinas are tall. But I mean a short, small version. You get what I'm saying? Not specifically thin. Thin is a part of it, but bone structure has to do with it, too. And, of course, height, you know. But anyway, continue.
It was a saying back then. It was called, "You're not a man until you slept with a black woman." Now, this don't go for all black women that are in interracial relationships. I'm pretty sure y'all ran into some good guys. But the ones that I have witnessed, I have seen black women give them all and get shit in return. Especially when it comes to other men. I know they talk about black men. When it comes to that white man and other races of men, I just hear a lot of bad stories.
And And that's probably why you're attracted to men of other races, as you've stated before. But you choose to be with black men because you feel like they're going to treat you the way you just said they treated you. You see, that's what you're saying. You don't have good outcomes with white men. This is probably why you have a lot of hate towards people like me, because I have only had good results with white men, and you have only had bad results. And I understand that, some people are, rejected by white men and other races of men, and this makes them bitter when it comes to black women who are chosen by men of other races, because you guys feel like what's bad about you that you are not chosen and other black women are. And, maybe you just haven't found the right one. I don't know. But I wouldn't say that applies to all black men, all white men, just because you were rejected by a white man. Not just because black women like you were rejected by white men or treated poorly by white men does not mean other black women are going to be treated badly by white men. So anyway, continue.
And I'm pretty sure it's not all black women that are in this relationship. That's how that's the type of situation. So we're going to talk about why I think black men are bigger simps for other races of women. Now, this is something black men really don't like to talk about, but we're being honest tonight. I have seen black men go out of their way for other races of women. They'll be doing things for them that they wouldn't even do for their own mother. That's why these passport bros and all these groups.
Yes, they do. And they do it for women who don't even choose them. That's the thing. That's what I was saying earlier. And you have to understand, if they're not willing to do all that for you, why do you put in so much work? You are literally the mirror of what you were talking about earlier about putting in so much for white men, but not getting anything in return. This is the same thing with black men for women like you. You put in so much, and all they do is either ignore you, or you find many different black men who will bash you. And they will say they're basically passport bros, which hurts your feelings, because you feel like after all the work you put in, they're still going out of the country to find someone that looks nothing like you. And that must hurt. But it is what it is. You have to understand, you're putting in all that work for nothing. Just like you said about the other people.
That's coming out of nowhere. That's really not a surprise. Because even when black women were submissive to black men, your guys still dated and ran to go be with other races of women. But he was right about this one. When Martin Luther King was telling black people to come together with white people, most black men had it on their mind, thinking about, I can't wait to fuck a white woman. I can't wait to be with a white woman. Because white men didn't want black men with women. And I'm going to say this, when a group of men tell another group of men, I don't want you with my woman, I don't want you looking at her, you can't have her, that makes that other group of men want her even more. Because now they're trying to see, well, what's so special about her? And it's even more exciting when he knows he's not supposed to be with her. Because that's how the human mind is. When you tell somebody not to do something, they want to go do it anyway. And like I said, when it's something they
I don't think that's it. I don't know, because I can't relate to that. I really can't. All my life, I've been told that who I'm supposed to see as my potential other half would actually be white, or, well, that's white too, basically. Just generally white men. I was never told or taught to see black men as the other half.